Hey guys, welcome to the Magic of Yoga episode 2, Manifest and Harness Your Psychic Abilities. So it is right now about 1:30 in the morning. I am out on my deck enjoying this weather while we still have it. And it is the waning moon. And with the waning moon, I am really feeling some powerful energy and this need to share and communicate and I guess inspired, which is also coming from the Celtic goddess Brigid today. She was pulled by my friend and mentor, and wow, she's really bringing in some fire inspiration, I can definitely say. So I'm really excited to share tonight's episode with you. I'm going to get a little bit personal into my reason why my psychic abilities was blocked. And then we're going to talk about how we can unblock and regain or introduce ourselves to our psychic abilities. All right. So before I start, I do want to give a big shout out to my latest YouTube videos subscribers. You know who you are. I unfortunately don't, but I want to thank you anyway. I want to thank everyone for their continued support, and I really look forward to you joining me on our journey together. And if you have something that you want to share, if there is something you want to request, if there is a um, story that you want me to hear, I want to hear it. So you can go ahead and comment if you're on YouTube, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at Earth Goddess Anna, or on Facebook, which is Yoga with Earth Goddess Anna. All right, we can thank my lovely yogi friends for my nickname. But without any further ado, let's dive into tonight's episode. So, manifest and harness your psychic abilities. If you work at all with the chakras, you'll understand that I am talking about the third eye as well. So I'm not talking about your big wow woo magic that you see on your TV shows or your movies, but I am talking about magic. Okay? I am talking about this magical energy that comes from the universe, that we read off of each other, that we exchange with each other, that we sense in a place or a situation. Like that, this is the kind of psychic ability that I'm talking about. This ability that tells you yes or no, basically. I mean, there is no denying at all that we all have chakras and we all have this particular ability. It might not be what we call it, but it's there. And we are all connected to the universal energy. It feeds us, we feed it. However, we might not be attuned to it. Some of us are so attuned to it that, in my personal experience, I'm just like, wow, you are the most magical, beautiful being that I know. But there's some of us that go through life, or we might go through situations where we have no idea what the third eye is. We have no idea what psychic abilities are. We might have an idea and we need help. We need some guidance. We need somebody to unblock this for us, show us how to use it. And for me personally, that last one, I needed guidance. And that is what I got when I joined Lisa Ware and her teacher training program. And I couldn't be more thankful for that. And that's where I want to talk about just a little bit that as a child, it's definitely clear to me that as a child, I was very attuned to my psychic abilities. And honestly, I've always known it. I've just never really expressed it before. But I was a very intuitive child. You'll find that children are more intuitive and more adept to their different chakras, and especially our psychic, because of our innocence and our high energy levels. It just work. They just flow with each other. And with that, when I was a child, I was really easily able to read other people just simply by the energy that they were emitting. I could look and give you yep or no, plain and simple. Like it was that easy for me. And it really, really strongly guided me for a good part of my life. I would have dreams as a child of conversations at events that would give me this deja vu feeling, and I had no idea what was going on. Not until one day that I had this conversation with my mother in the kitchen, and I was totally normal, and I woke up. But that was the weird part, was I woke up. I was like, wow, that was a really vivid dream. My day went on, and I am standing in the kitchen, and I am having this same conversation with my mother. And I'm like really, really thrown off. I'm like almost drifting because I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. This is weird. I've had this conversation. It wasn't deja vu at that point. It was, I have had this conversation. I know I have. So at the end of the conversation that I had with her, I said, didn't we just talk about this yesterday? And she said, no. So this is the first time I brought it up to you. And I was like, oh. And so I ignored it. And that was it. But I knew what had happened. And that was like my wake up call when I was just like, okay, this is, well, I was very young. So I was actually like, this is fantastic. But as years went on, I did a lot more reading and a lot more research and began to embrace and harness a little bit more. I was also able to sense otherworldly energies, and it wasn't at every house or every street or any place that I went to. It wasn't all the time. It's actually only happened twice. It was once on a tour in Scotland that I took, and it was a, unfortunately, I don't remember the exact name of the place, but I can tell you the story. And it was a place where people had hidden in basically stove ovens, but they were caves to hide from a fire that was engulfing their village, not realizing that they themselves were gonna cook, and they were buried alive and died. And it was a very sad moment. But on a tourist level, makes a great tour, right? I wasn't trying to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I am not trying to upset those spirits. But while I was at this place, I definitely felt this mixture of energy surrounding us. And it's really, really hard to explain it. If it's something you've experienced, you know what I mean. You might even experience it when you visit, if you've been to any ruined castles or very old locations. You just sense these old spirits. You just know that they are there. It happened a second time a few years ago. And when my husband and I had bought our house, we both experienced this. And doors were opening and closing. We were hearing voices. We were replying, thinking it was the other person. And it turns out it wasn't. And we weren't even at home at the time. So we at first kept it to ourselves. We never dared share with each other. But then eventually we were like, okay. And I had shared with him my experience, and he was like, the same thing is happening to me. And I knew that that point there was someone in that house with us. And it was the same kind of energy that I was feeling that I had felt many, many years ago. Like this barrier, this blockage, this cloud, this struggle that I'm always having to walk through in this house. Well, the very last time that it happened, I was like, I'm gonna have to talk to whomever this person is. And I sat and I just simply was like, hey, you know, I know this house has been here for over 100 years and that it has only belonged in one family, but we love it here. We love that you want to be here, but it is time for you to move on. We love that your sister is next door. She's a lovely person. And I just had this conversation and made it clear that everything is okay. That you have done your job and now it is time to go on. Shortly after that, doors were no longer opening and closing on their own, voices were no longer heard, and that cloud, that struggle that we felt every time we walked was gone. And it was just replaced with nothingness. It was almost like now it was our turn to spill our energy and spill our love into this house. So that was truly an amazing experience to be able to connect on such a heightened level. But going back a little bit, like I said, as a child, I was very connected and very intuitive. I had certain tools such as crystals and candle magic that I would use to help me connect and deepen and meditate and really feed into the universal energy around us. I lost my connection, I guess you can say. My blockage began to happen as I lost connection with people. I mean, that sounds a bit much, but growing up, I did find two friends that felt like they were on the same level, that they were very heightened, that they had this psychic ability, and we together did research and paths and practiced. But as with most children, things are phases, and unfortunately for me, it was a phase for them. But then with that, it was like, well, now I'm the black sheep. I'm weird. I'm different. And it wasn't normal to be this hippie connected person. And I decided that it was better to fit in than to be my own person. And I do wonder now, when I look back, had I just listened to my intuition and trusted the instincts that were yelling at me at the time, how certain situations may have turned out. But I mean, life gives you lemons, right? You just take what you get and you move on and you learn a lot of things. So I mean, don't get me wrong, as I went about life was great. I had friends, and I went partying, I did the normal proms and life experiences, but there was always this gnawing at me that I was ignoring something, that I should have been doing something. But I was just like, no, you stay back there. I don't need to listen to you. So what I want to ask you now is that you? Like, are you doing something and you've got this gnawing feeling that says do something else, or be open, don't be afraid? Do you get this knot and you just shelter in? Because that's exactly how it felt. I became completely blocked. I would say I shut the door to that entirely, because that part of me was very spiritual. That part of me was like, there is more than just us. There is something after death. There is another world, whatever it may be, but there is something. And it was very comforting. It was very exciting. I was willing to accept that. I guess you can say that that was my religious path that I had found. But when it became apparent to me that I was this weird person, that this wasn't normal to my surroundings, you know, as I said, I hid that. I buried it down and I ignored it. But when I shut the door completely and I received nothing thereafter, was the day that my grandmother passed away. My grandmother always knew I was a little different, even if she hated my talismans and my pentagrams. She knew I was a little different, and she loved me for it, and we were best friends. But it was very, very difficult when she passed away, and that was it for me. Where did she go? What was there next? Because I had buried that part of me for so long and fought against it, that there was nothing now. So moving on, I just kind of wandered about. I did life the way I had always been doing it, but this time there was no gnawing feeling. There was almost like this empty hole. Like, what have you done? I'm just exploded, gone. But in 2014, I became unblocked during my Reiki session with Lisa Ware, who's also my mentor for my teacher training program. And that is my first highly recommended choice to becoming unblocked. Now, it can take several sessions, it can take one session, who really knows? It's all about how open minded and willingness you are to receive the messages. And I had been working with Lisa for a while, so I guess when I went to my Reiki attunement, I was extremely ready for what I was about to receive. I'm not going to go into that today. That's going off track. But if you go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, there will come a point that I will be uploading both my Reiki 1 and my Reiki 2 experiences, and in November, my Reiki 3. So basically, I want to take this moment to ask you, does that sound like someone you know? Does that sound like you? Has any of that reflected to what it has been like for you growing up or in a situation right now, and you're just blah, you're just blocked? You're just like, what is going on? I need more. I need to do something, right? And that is key. That is the first part. Be willing to take control. Be willing to open this psychic ability, this third eye. Be willing to do that again. Take control. All right. Willing, willing, willing. Open that mind. So, reflecting back to my Reiki, that is my number one choice. Reiki sessions are an amazing way to work with light energy and aid in unblocking your chakra. You can find a practitioner to work with you. You can explain to them what it is that you're looking to do, and they will work with you. Like I said, it's more than likely going to take more than one session, but just go in prepared to receive this positive energy light. Allow it to wash over you. Let it work on the areas that need to be worked on, that need the love, that need the attention. And then, if and when you're ready, apply for a Reiki attunement and deepen that practice and see what else the universe has to say to you. Great herbs that also work with your psychic ability that you can cook with, that you can make spray oils out of, that you can just simply rub and just smell. Any way that you want to work with it, you can use them. Essential oil versions are rosemary, which mentally stimulate the brain, tea tree oil, which is great for removing energy blockages. Star ants heightens and manifests your psychic abilities. Spearmint, which is great for protecting your mental state while you're in a deep consciousness. So, rosemary, tea tree, and spearmint are beautiful combinations to try and work with, especially, for example, if you wanted to put tea tree and spearmint together. So, you're removing energy blockages while protecting yourself. Again, on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be putting up little recipes, little how-tos related to all of this. So be sure to get over there and subscribe. Click on that little bell so you get notifications. The next thing, which was very hard for me to do because it was very hard to admit my problems, admit that I was blocking, but working with affirmations. I mean, you can literally open up the entire world to you with a single affirmation. An affirmation is working with a statement of something that is true, and you can have an affirmation such as, I am psychic. It can be that simple. My third eye is activated. I am intuitive. You know, it doesn't have to be long and complicated, but you have to believe it. You have to send that message out into the universe and say, this is it. This is true. You can end it with aho or now and just make it so. I also have a affirmation and intentions worksheet on my website page. So if you want to go over there and download it, it works through the steps. And the very last step, you will have your positive affirmation. I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can go over to my website and download it there too. Which brings us to now working with intentions, which is not like affirmations, but setting an intention is when you send a mental note out into the universe of a future action that you are committing yourself to. Don't think of it as a goal, but this is a future aspect that you are going to get to. And a good way to focus on your intentions are to meditate daily, remind yourself, set the right frame of mind. Set the right frame of mind. There we go. I'll get those words out. See, this is what happens when you podcast episodes at 1:30 in the morning. You get tongue twisted, right? Work with candle magic. So lighting the candles and setting your attention, stare at it as long as you wish, and then stare at the flame as long as you wish, and then blow it out. You could try using a purple candle to commune with the divine spirits and magic of the universe. I'm going to say that this particular practice I did learn from my friend and mentor, Lisa Ware. I've just adapted it to suit my needs a little bit more. So I suggested a purple candle here because of its connection to divine spirits and the magic of the universe. That is pretty much what I do with all of this practice. Anything that I want to set, I choose a candle that speaks to me at that time, that connects with the intention or affirmation that I am working with, and do the ceremony of lighting the candle, staring at it as long as I can or as long as I wish, and then blowing it out when I am ready. So, as you work with affirmations and intentions, your brain thought process begins to change. And you'll see these changes as you manifest towards your as you manifest towards opening your third eye and harnessing your psychic abilities and willingness to receive the universal messages, you'll start to see these changes in your mind, in the way that you see things, in your lifestyle. It's just all these little things. And you'll start to probably feel them more before you see them, before you're willing to be like, wow, what is happening? You can also burn cedar incense, which is a great way to promote clarity, as well as sandalwood. I love creating essential oil sprays. So if you are somebody who doesn't like to use a smudge stick, for example, you're somebody who doesn't like to put essential oil directly onto your skin, there's just an alternative to utilizing essential oils, but not necessarily using a oil burner or putting it on your skin, such thing. So you can create an essential oil spray that can connect well with the third eye when you're meditating to help manifest and to harness. You can use lavender, you can use bergamot, and you just simply put it in with a carrier oil and spritz around the room. Maybe spray your meditation cushion if that's what you're using. Maybe you can spray a towel and drop the towel around your shoulders, and then that way you can get the scent and feel the smell and really embrace the properties that the essential oil has for you. Work with crystals. Crystals are beautiful and powerful, and that's all there is to it. That's all you need to know. Just go out and get some crystals, right? I'm not going to go through all of the properties and the benefits of the crystals I'm about to list, but working with them can really, really activate your chakras. They can boost your psychic abilities. They can clear your mind. They can protect your conscious state. And just remember to recharge them. As soon as you get a crystal, its energy has been used and exchanged and handed so many times. So you want to make sure that that crystal has been cleansed. You can cleanse them in a saltwater bath. You can put them out in the full moon. You can do both, but just make sure that you give your crystals time to recharge. Okay? So you can work with crystals such as amber or amethyst, celeste, clear quartz, tiger's eye, and black obsidian. These are all different types of crystals that work well together. They work well with the third eye and harnessing, manifesting, growing, clarity. So just kind of have a look. If you can, go to a crystal shop, touch, feel, and see what kind of energy that they're giving off. Are they saying, take me home? Because if they are, that is the one. Lastly, you can make a full ritual out of everything we just talked about. You can find a nice dim lit area. Your third eye is light sensitive, so it's definitely more active in a dim lit area, maybe a candle lit area. But you can find this space, dim out the lights, you can spray the room, you can set your candles, you can meditate, put your crystals in a organized fashion. You can have them making a pentagram, you can have them around you, you can have them lined up beside you, you can be holding them any way that feels comfortable for you. Have a pen and paper nearby and just really, really fall deep and sink into your practice, sink into your ritual, send your intentions out to the universe, say your affirmations, and love yourself. I mean, that is key. Be ready to receive these universal energies. Be open-minded and love yourself. I mean, that is, I think, something that's taken me a long time to learn, and I think a lot of us don't realize that we need. So we're coming up here to the end of our episode. I've kept you guys long enough, and I appreciate you for sticking around this long. So I'm going to close this with another shout out and thank you to the YouTube subscribers that are following me so far and my current supporters. If you have any comments on today's podcast, be sure to leave me a comment. Be sure to reach out to me because I want to hear from you. All right? Because I want to hear from you. So be sure to do that. And glimpse into our next podcast episode with Halloween coming up. I am doing a sew-in podcast episode. We'll go through some rituals and ideas, as well as keep an eye on that YouTube for how-to videos and altar videos. So with that, I'm going to bed now, and I love you all so much. Namaste.